Hello, welcome to Kozia TV. Today we are going to do the lesson 26 of our preparations for the entrance exams. Today we are going to start with variations. Okay, so we have different types of variations. We have the direct variation, indirect, we have joint variation and partial radiation. Okay, so for the variation, direct variation, if y is proportional to, let's say, x, y increases as x increases. Okay, so when you change this one, this proportion is going to change to equals and the constant, so something like this. Then when the equation varies indirectly, as y increases, but as y increases, x decreases. So you can change this one to equal to then k, introduce a constant over x. So just know that for the direct variation, as y increases, x increases, and as x increases, y increases. But for the indirect, as y increases, x decreases, and vice versa. Okay, yeah, so let's solve one huge question. Most of the time I advise you that if we are solving any question of this form, just take your pamphlet and go through, just so that we'll go. Don't be looking at my question. Even my handwriting is a little bit forgive me, but use your pamphlet, okay, and just follow the procedure I will be using. Thank you very much. So the cost of producing a motor car in a certain factory is partly constant and partly varies inversely as the number of cars produced per day. So this is what I'm talking about, the partial variation. Okay, and the cost of producing 4 cars per day is $1,600, and that of producing 5 cars per day is $1,420. Find the relation between C and N. That's one. Then we find the number of cars produced per day necessary to bring the cost down to $1,150 per day. Okay, so let's, without wasting much time, let's go to the solution. So when you have a big question like this, you solve it step by step. You utilize every parameter or every value they give you. Okay, he said the cost of producing a motor car is in a factory is partly constant, so the cost C. So I write C equal to partly constant, so one part is constant, that's the K1, plus, and partly varies inverse as the what number N of cars, so another partly inversely, so the inversely will be like this, as the number of cars. So cost is varying directly for the first part, and the cost is varying inversely. So this is K1, the first constant, this is K2, the second constant. Yes, we are going to use this relation. Okay, so let's look at what the question will tell us. The cost of producing 4 cars per day is $1,600. So from here, what do you see? The cost of producing 4 cars. Here they are saying the number N, so the N is now what? 4. Are you getting it? And the cost is what? $1,600. So I'm going to replace it here. The cost is $1,600. They didn't give us this first constant. They didn't give us the second constant. But we know that the cost of producing 4, the N is 4 cars, okay? 4 cars in the first scenario. 4 cars, okay? 4 cars. So 4 cars, we are going to simplify this. We are going to multiply all the terms by 4. This term 1, term 2, and term 3. So 4 times 1,600 equals 4 times K1 plus 4 times K2 over 4. Then 4 times 16 will give you 64. They add your 2 zeros equals 4K1 plus 4 cancels itself, K2. This one becomes our equation 1. I hope you are there. Yes, we are going to do the same thing for the equation 2. Here, let's continue with our question. It said the cost, yes, let's continue. So where is it? and that of producing 5 cars. So now N is what? 5 per day is 1420. So this one is the C now. Let me write this equation again. So C equal to K1 plus what? K2 over N. And we are saying now the cost is 1420 now. Of producing how many cars? 5 cars. Now the cars are 5. Okay. So that means that N is what? 5. And I'll maintain my K2. Then I'm going to simplify this. So what am I going to do? As we did in the first one, I'm going to multiply all the terms 1, 2, 3 times by this 5. That's the denominator. Okay. So 5 times 1420 equals 5 times K1 plus 5 times this last term K2 over 5. So that 5 times 1420 gives what? 5 times 1420 7100. Then 5 times K1 5K1 plus 5 will cancel itself. We will left with K2. This will be equation 2. So equation 1 is 6400 equals to 6400 equal to 4K1 plus K2. 4K1 plus K2. Equation 1. Then equation 2 is 7100 equal to 5K1 plus K2. What are you going to do? We have to solve this equation simultaneously. Okay, so we will do that in our next lesson, but let's just get a tip of the iceberg here. Okay, so how are you going to solve? You can use the elimination or substitution method. I prefer to use the elimination method. Okay, I'll use the elimination method here. So I'm going to subtract equation 2 minus 1. So 7100 equals 5K1 plus K2 minus 6400 equals 4K1 plus K2. I'm subtracting. K2 comes minus K2 is 0. Then 5K1 minus 4K1 give me K1. Then when I subtract this, 7100 minus 6400, I'm going to get 700. So K1 is 700. Now how do you find K2? Put K1 equal to 700 into any of the equations, either equation 1 or 2. So I prefer equation 1. Okay, so 6400 equals 4K1, right? So K1 is now 700. Okay, plus K2. So I'm going to get 6400 equal to 2800 plus K2. Then now let's group like them. 6400. This will cross to be minus 2800 equals K2. Calculator. 6400 minus 2800. You're going to get 3600. So 3600 equals K2. Therefore, K2 is 3600. If K2 is 3600, now you know that K1 is 700 and K2 is 3600. Therefore, K1 is 700 and K2 is 3600. We are not done yet. Okay, so we reached here. Okay, so find the relation between C and N. That's what we are going to do. Then we are going to find the number of cars produced per day necessary to bring the cost down to this amount. So let's fix the value of K and K1 here. That will give us the relation between C and N. Okay, So let's go. C equals K1 plus K2 over N. Put K1 here. What we saw, what we had, 700. And put K2 here, what we had. So we are going to, forgive me for flipping. So C equals K1 plus K2 over N. Now C is K1 is 700 plus K2 3600 all over N. So this is the relation the question is asking us to find. The question is asking us to also find what the number of cars N which will be required to reduce the amount to 1150. So the cost, you put 1150 there, you substitute cost there, then you continue 3600 over N. We are going to find N here. So let's multiply all these times 1, 2, 3 by N. Okay, so N times 1150 equals N times 700 plus N times 3600 over N. So this will give you 1150N equals 700N plus N cancel N. So you get 3600. Let's group like terms. N 700 equals to be negative 700N equals 3600. So 1150 minus 700 will give us 450 equals 3600. How do you find N? Divide there by 450. Divide there by 450. So we have 3600 divided by 450, and that will give us 8. Therefore, 8 cars will be required to reduce the price to $1150 to $1150. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. If you're not subscribed, please do well to subscribe. If you are finding anything difficult, please let me see it in the comment section below. You can decide to also slow the video down. Just do all your best to understand, please. Yes, I'll see you in the next lesson. God bless you. Bye bye.